Yo, welcome back to the channel everyone, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make jump up lead bass sounds in the style of Chase&Status, Prototypes, etc. This is very classic sounds. Let's have a listen to the sound we're going to be making today. Here we go. Okay, let's get right into it. Okay, so here we have an initialized preset. Let's turn on oscillator 2. We're going to use the default preset for the wavetable here. First thing I want to do is I just want to turn the randoms down so that it starts from exactly the same place each time. I want to turn this one down an octave and this one up an octave, but I'm also going to come up 4 semitones, and that's going to give us this type of sound. So the next thing we want to do is just set up a bit of FM. So in order to do that, we're going to use oscillator B as our carrier. So we're going to go to the FM and go FM from B. We're going to turn the FM up to around... have it around there. We'll play around with this as we add some other things. So we're going to modulate things using the LFO in this one. So we're going to bring this to about here and just make a kind of thin like this, so we get a little warpy kind of introduction to the sounds. So I'm going to turn this level down a little bit, and I'm going to use this to go 100%. I also want it to be on envelope mode, so it only does it once. 1/4 is fine, so we're going to leave that as it is. So we get that kind of sound. Okay, the next thing I want to do is just turn on the filter. I'm going to use a low 18 for this one. Let's assign the LFO to this filter as well. We're going to go both ways with the sound here, so we're going to go something like this. So we end up with something like this, another basic sound. There we go. So you can see as we're going along, we're coming up with some different ideas. You could use some of these just as they are, go into the effects, add a few effects to these, make them sound bigger, etc. And you've already got some kind of classic sounds from the first one I played you up until where we add the filter. We start to get some classic style sounds, but we're going to take this further. So one of the ways we're going to do that is we're going to FM from the sub as well. So we're going to switch on the FM from sub. We're going to turn on the sub. We're going to use the sine wave for this one, so we're going to go up 3, and we're also going to turn this one right down, and let's hear what happens when. We also want some noise, so let's just switch on the noise. We're going to use the default noise. We're going to control this with the LFO again, so we're going to switch that onto there. Okay, we're also going to switch on the key tracking actually on the filter. Okay, around there somewhere. So like I said, we just fiddle with these two to get the sort of sound whereabouts we want it. I'm going to leave that for there for now. Let's come to the effects and switch on a couple of things in the effects just to beef up the sound. So let's come in here and turn on first of all the distortion. And let's turn the distortion up to about 2 o'clock sort of thing, but we'll give it a little boost with the modulation of the LFO as well, so we end up with something like let's just boost it a bit more. We're going to change the type. Let's go for a soft clip actually. Let's try this one. That's better. We're going to use that one. Let's add a little bit of chorus to this sound. So let's turn the rate down. we're going to play with some of these things. So let's just move this a bit randomly. Like let's have these kind of the same, the delay, so the same sort of area. We'll turn the depth to about 12 o'clock. And the feedback can also go to around about 12 o'clock as well. So let's have that around there somewhere. The low pass can come down a bit to about 11, something like that. And the mix can come down a bit to roundabouts like 9 o'clock, something like that as well. So we're at. Okay, excellent. So we got that sound so far. Next thing we want to do is we want to add a compressor. So let's add a compressor. We're just going to boost the volume mostly with the compressor. So let's just turn that up to around here somewhere. See where we're at. Can come down a bit. I feel like I'm getting too much noise out of this, so I'm going to turn the amount of modulation. Something like that. So it's a bit more subtle in the background. So on like 30. There we go, that will do nicely. Excellent. And the next thing we want to do, we're going to add a reverb. So let's add a bit of reverb to this sound as well. So let's turn a couple of things down to about 20, something like there. Get this on like 3.5, let's say, so around there. We want to turn the low cut up a bit so we don't get any low end coming through the reverb. We just want the high end of this sound coming out. And the mix can stay pretty much where it is. Let's see what we're at with this. Okay, we're getting there, right? One more thing maybe we can add is just another filter here. You could just use this to play around with the sound, like filter it out a bit. You could add a bit of drive, etc. to the filter if you wanted to, just to give it a little bit more of a boost. So I'm going to leave like that. You could set a macro to this to filter it and stuff if you wanted to. You could play around with different filter types as well in this one, but for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to leave that more or less like it is. I might just turn the mix down a tiny bit. Okay, so guys, I think we're pretty much there with this. We could like tweak around with this a bit. Let's see what happens. So what you can do is you can end up like adding a macro, for example, to this one. If you press Shift and Alt, as you can see there, you can switch it from bipolar to polar mode, so it goes both ways. And then what we can do is turn this right up, something like that. We do the same for a macro too. We can do that one on this one here. Press Shift and Alt and click on this, it will change it for you. Move that up to there, and then we can start playing with the macros. Remember that when you set it though to both ways on the bipolar, what you need to do is you need to make sure your macros are on 50%, and then it will start in the middle according to going both ways. So you always need to make sure that this is on 50, and then that's going to start where the line is on your knob there, and then means it will, if you turn it up, it's going to go up further that way, and if you turn it down from 50%, then you're going to start coming into this kind of area here. So as you can hear, we've got the original sound back now, and if I play with this macro, we could also set a macro to like the filter cutoff as well, so we can put this on 50 as well. If we put that on 50, it's a start from the middle because it's going both ways, as you can see. We put these all on 50, so we're just playing with the sound that we originally had. And hear what it does to that. And you can move these. Okay, so you can really start to play around with the sound a bit by adding these macros. So it's always good to add macros to your sound once you've got a basic idea of the sound that you want, and you've made a preset that is like the main idea or whatever you've got in your head as a sound and you're happy with that. Start adding your macros then and creating different changes. You can use them to create like automation, so to open up the sound, close the sound, etc. So the filter's a very good one for that. But we can also use it to completely change sounds as well. So for example, I could change this sound into an ARP or into a kick drum or into a completely different type of sound if I wanted to, just using the macros. So I could, in one preset, for example, have 3 or 4 different types of sounds that are basically their own preset in one patch. So there's different ways you can use your macros to create things like that. Remember that you can use your automation lanes within your DAW as well to automate every parameter that you have. So the options are endless, really, if you look at it that way. There's so many things you could do. But always start with a basic idea, get your idea how you want it, the basic sound, and from there you can start adding progressions and things. So thanks very much for your time, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something from this video. It's a very basic preset, but hopefully I've showed you a few other things you could do with this type of sound to kind of take it in different directions. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button to help me grow, to help me add more content. I have plenty more tips and tricks to share with you guys and help you on your musical journey. So take care, guys. Until next time, peace.